Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our session. Very excited to have you here, especially if you just came out of the last session. It's kind of nice not having to run down hallways and find the right buildings. Instead just hunting around for Zoom links is a different kind of panicky, but we're glad that everyone made it. And my name is Liz Whitewolf, and I'm the new Engagement and Program Manager for the SCOPES project. Very excited to have you all here, and looking forward to hearing your comments and questions as the presentation goes on. So I'm going to introduce Dan Smithwick to start the presentation. Go ahead, Dan.
Thank you very much, Liz, and thank you everyone for coming. Yeah, it was a great previous session. If you missed it, hopefully you can view it later. But it was a nice session. So I wanted to thank Anna and Nick and Corey and Sarah. It was really nice to see the with of all their work. As part of the SCOPES project, we've been very aware and involved where we can with all their projects, and it's such a nice progression that they've shown of taking on new challenges and showing tremendous projects and just excellent students. So if you get a chance, please check out their session online. So I'm excited to be here with you all today, and thank you for coming to our session on the SCOPES platform. If you're not familiar with SCOPES, you will learn about what the project is and what the platform is about as we move along in the presentation. I'm assuming a lot of you do know about SCOPES, so a lot of this will be updates on our community, on what we've been up to recently, on some of the new content that we've helped produce and create for the platform. So I'm excited to share all that. There we go. So I'll give a quick run through of the presentation, and please feel free to use the chat for questions, or I think the questions are enabled here on the Zoom platform. So please do feel free to use that as we go along. I will do a quick pause kind of halfway through just to take a little breath, and then also to give room for questions. So if you have something that you'd like to ask right away, please use that time as well. So I'm going to give a quick overview of what the SCOPES project is, and then I'm going to move into showing some of the resources that we have available, and some of the content on the site, do a little view of the analysis of the content to kind of help paint a picture of what we're about, what lessons we have up on the site, what subject areas are covered. So kind of like a meta view of the site, if you would, of all the materials that we have available. And I do want to thirdly spend time in this session to highlight some of the great work that's being done. All of the work on the site is community built. So we at the FAB Foundation and with the SCOPES project always want to give recognition to the work that people have done. It's all volunteer and purely for sharing with the world what kind of digital fabrication content people have created. So for me particularly, it's important to acknowledge all the time that people have spent on this. It's you don't have to add to the platform, and many people have their own platforms, right? Many teachers who use these materials are kind of duplicating their work here, and I think there's value in that. I hope people see that, and I know it's can be kind of labor intensive to kind of recreate content that you have elsewhere. So we really appreciate all the extra work that people have done. Towards the end, we'll hopefully leave some time for dedicated Q&A. So if the timekeepers for this can help me stay on track, maybe if we can leave about 10 minutes, if you want to give me kind of a 2-minute warning, that would be helpful to make sure we leave enough time for that. So I want to get right into the first question here is what is SCOPES? And whoops, sorry, I forgot I added this slide here. I want to recognize just the team that has helped make all of this possible. It's certainly not just the work of myself and Liz, but many people have helped build the SCOPES platform and build a lot of the content on it. So I want to recognize Melvin LaPrade and Sonia Pryor-Jones, our director of this project. We've all been working many years on this project. I actually started this project or joined the project in 2017. I will announce it's a little bit of a bittersweet moment for me in this presentation, in that this will be my last presentation with the FAB Foundation. I'm moving on to other opportunities, so it's also a goodbye of sorts, at least in terms of my involvement with the SCOPES team. So this is actually my third FAB event. I was fortunate enough to present in Toulouse, France, and in Egypt last year at the 2 previous FAB events. So it's been a privilege and an honor to represent SCOPES and to help develop it, help kind of create a vision and a path forward for what will be happening next. So yeah. Moving on here. So SCOPES DF is many things. It's about integrating digital fabrication into the K through 12 early childhood education environment. And we've, over the years, hosted numerous in-person workshops and done various community level partnerships, and worked with teachers, worked with students, traveled all around the world to help introduce Fab Labs into schools. We've traveled into our own backyards to help kind of further advance education initiatives in our own communities, and kind of wrapped all around that is an online platform. And this is a screenshot of our platform. I hope many of you have been there, and I hope many of you who haven't will visit our platform. We use this platform to document our work, to document the work of the community, to show all the different resources that we've built and helped compile over the last few years. And we want to make it, it's a free resource for anyone to use these, use the lessons that we have available, use other digital fabrication writings and curriculum and videos. So I'm going to go into that today, but kind of the presentation that I'll show you today is about the website, about our platform. But it's more than that. So I wanted to just make sure that's clear, and that's what Liz will kind of help fill in the details and share some of the new stuff that we're working towards over this next year. But my focus in this project and overall has been on the platform, helping build this platform, helping get teachers to become members on the platform and develop their content. And we currently have a call for lessons. That's part of what we do, is we help curate and help define calls for lessons that get teachers and makers and hobbyists to add content. So I just want to flag that we are actively asking for lesson contributions, specifically to deal with COVID-19, with the fact that many of our students are at home, and we've kind of had to rethink what it means to do digital fabrication in that environment. And I think the previous presenters, Nick and Corey and Anna and Sarah, all highlighted some really nice examples of things that they've done with their students remotely, kind of looking at different areas of digital fabrication that can be done at home, or at least can be done in advance. So there's many opportunities for this, for digital fabrication to continue to grow and evolve, even in the face of a worldwide pandemic. But yeah, I just wanted to call attention to that. It's forced us at the Fab Foundation and the SCOPES project to dig deep into what it means to be sharing digital and non-digital content in this setting. And we're excited to see what others have done, what other interpretations of what unplugged means, how your students respond to that, and how we continue to nurture learning in this situation. So let me keep diving in here. This is an overview, just kind of a snapshot of some of the lessons, some of the digital fabrication lessons we have available on the site that have been created by all of our members. So in kind of one framing, the SCOPES DF platform is a lesson repository. It's perhaps one of the largest repositories of digital fabrication lessons that integrate standards with the content. So we're proud to continue to grow it and to see new lessons added every single day. So here you just see a nice snapshot of some of the lessons we have. We have some of the new lessons are in different languages other than English, and really tackle all areas of digital fabrication, and really all skill levels too. So it's exciting to see the breadth of content and just the variety and the personalities that really come out. I think that's one thing that I like about the platform, is just seeing the personality types that you kind of get revealed when you share a project on the site. It speaks a lot to the authorship and the style, and just the kind of the approach is so, it's a wide range, but it all kind of has a nice kind of common thread that kind of weaves us all together. So that's in a snapshot. We're at one level a lesson repository to share and to kind of remix digital fabrication lesson materials. But we're also a community, and again, that's we're excited to have Liz on board to really drive that home, to really emphasize the fact that we are community driven, and that we're built by all these people. And this is again just kind of a snapshot of our community page on the platform, and you just see immediately the diversity of faces and colors and again personalities, and it's nice. It's like that's one of the things I like best about this project, is just seeing this. It's a really inclusive project. I think we've done a good job of welcoming many people of all walks of life and all parts of the world. It seems to work well, I think, of kind of bringing everyone here together. Like I said, we have visitors from all around the world. This particular image here is some analytics on not necessarily our members, but where the visitors to our web platform are coming from. And over the years, we've fluctuated, but we have around 1,200 monthly visitors from all over the world. It's in many different languages and cities and urban areas, you name it. We've got people interested in this content from all around the world. And again, that's really exciting for me to see. And that's, again, one of the exciting things about the FAB events, is a chance for all of us to come together and recognize each other, to grow a community through this common language of digital fabrication. Here's a little kind of under the hood look at our numbers, and as of last week, we've had a total of 30,000 or 30,000 plus visitors, and with about 102,000 page views over the course of this project. And what you're looking at here is a year-over-year overlay of visitor activity to the SCOPES website. So you can see in the light green, it's 2018, kind of tracking the visitor, kind of page views. I think it's actually just visitors, not page views here. And in 2019, see some big upticks, like around this uptick in February, at the beginning, closer to the beginning of the year, was when we officially launched the web platform. Many of you here may have known about our earlier prototypes and our earlier versions of the website. So that big uptick was when we launched last year officially with this new platform. And then you can see this year we're in the darker blue, we're on track to, I think, about a 300% growth of activity on of visitors on the platform. And that's been super encouraging and really nice to see this year-over-year growth, and really kind of communicates back to us that we're doing something right, as much as we struggle through and we have our moments. But I think we're onto something here, and it kind of shows in the numbers and shows in the consistency. It's almost like there's like this pulse that comes through, and I really enjoy seeing that over the years. So that's something I wanted to share. A few details about our platform. So we have around 950 or so members who have signed up and created an account on the platform. And that's teachers, Fab Lab managers, informal educators, quite a variety of people. And of those, about 70 members have contributed content. And contributed, we have, the latest count is about 168 lessons that are available on the platform. And we do emphasize that they're standards aligned, and aligned to a couple different sets of standards. I'll go into more detail of what those standards are throughout the remainder of this presentation, but there's to list them. We have two U.S. standards for K through 12 education, which are Common Core and NGSS, Next Generation Science standards. So those are the two U.S. standards that we ask the lesson contributors to check what standards their lesson uses. And we've also created a set of standards called the FAB I Can statements, which are fabrication-centric standards that help teachers align learning progression to the standards. And I'll go into more detail with what those mean. Also on this page I've listed, we do have 6, 7, I think even more coming on board here, special collections where we work more closely with a particular Fab Lab or community member on creating that kind of thematic content. So a collection is usually 3 to 4, maybe 5 lessons that are, have a common thread throughout them. So some of these examples include our work with our sponsors of this work, the GE and Chevron foundations. We've built lesson collections with them. We've also done Black Panther inspired collection to hit upon some culturally relevant content. We've also done a lot of work with some members of our platform in mental wellness. And some other fun ones include the Pancake Bot collection. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of our partnership with Miguel Valenzuela, the inventor of the Pancake Bot, and we've developed lessons that show how to use a Pancake Bot in your classroom. A really fun kind of very hands-on and safe and kind of simple. Like it's like people tend to like food, so if you can show them how to use new tools, it's kind of an easy win. Instead of like a scary, CNC machine running somewhere, it's like, no, you make pancakes. So it's a nice kind of way to quickly relate to people who are unfamiliar with these technologies. We've also 2 new collections that we've introduced are the FAB Academy, one of the programs that the Fab Foundation runs, bringing e-textiles, kind of merging textiles with digital fabrication. And then also a Bhutan collection. I have a screenshot here. Yeah, so here's the 2 new collections that we just brought online. So we're excited to share those. There's some links at the bottom of this page. Oh, and before I forget, I think also the host of this session has shared the link to this presentation, so that I do have a lot of embedded links in here, and I wanted to make it as easy as possible for you all to visit those pages and see some of these links. So please do share that with everyone. But what's exciting about, in particular, the FAB Bhutan lesson collection is that we're, I forget the year off the top of my head, but I think in 2 years now, we're going to be, Bhutan will be hosting one of the next FAB event. So this is kind of the start of kind of that relationship, helping develop content from using their cultural heritage as a starting point. So please check out those collections. They're really nice lessons that were developed by some really nice people. Moving on. I also want to highlight some of the resources that, in addition to the lessons that we've either built or members have contributed to the platform, we at the FAB Foundation and the SCOPES team over the years have developed two particular resources I want to call attention to. One is the Playbook, which is it's a white paper explaining our background, our theoretical background into kind of why digital fabrication, and it also highlights some of our learning experiences that we developed as a team over the years, working with different schools, kind of what we found that worked in many different settings. So in many ways, it's kind of like if you're new to the FAB world, or if you have teachers who are in your school who are looking to say, hey, what's this all about? This is a good resource to kind of share some background and develop some common language with teachers and administrators to share. I do have some snapshots of these pages. So there's a nice section on our theoretical background and looking at constructionism and constructivism. A lot of this was mostly authored by Melvin LaPrade, so he's just really shares some nice insights into the roots of digital fabrication over the years, kind of dating back to some early work at MIT Media Lab. So there's some dense parts, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There's some dense parts in here that take some time to kind of digest and read through, but I encourage you to do that. We also stressed a lot of the topics you heard earlier today around culturally relevant teaching, really making it accessible to more than the typical audience you might think about with digital fabrication. How do we continue to grow this community? And that's certainly one of the ways, is make it relevant for everyone and for more people. Welcome more people into this and kind of meet them in where they are and with what they're interested in. So this playbook addresses that and shares a little bit more about our background and work in that area. And then of course we talk about some of the new tools and approaches, and one of those is the FAB I Can statements. Like I said before, they are a set of standards that we have developed that do a couple things. One, they help align skill level with for teachers to say, hey, is this lesson appropriate for someone who's just walking in the door of a Fab Lab for the first time? Or is it more appropriate for someone who's got 2 or 3 or more 5 years under their belt of work? It helps track the level of the particular lesson that we've developed, but also it allows to kind of take a broader step and look at kind of learning progression over a course of years that school administrators might be interested in using as a way to make sure there's coherency between grade levels, between teachers. So we've developed this, and we've shared this in a couple different content or a couple different formats, including a poster that's available. I think a lot of Fab Labs, you see different kinds of posters for explaining, like, design process and things of that nature. This is kind of in that same vein where you can put it up on a wall and always reference it. So you can also kind of see, students can see kind of where they're going, like, oh, this is only design 2. There's one other level that I could dive into. And on the website, on Scopes DF, we have again, the poster available, but also a more in-depth write-up kind of explaining kind of like position statements of like why do we use this particular, computer programming .3, or why do we use this particular, electronics .2. So this on the page here is just kind of a screenshot of some of them, but there's 6 total: the design, programming, electronics, modeling, fabrication, and safety. That's how we've framed digital fabrication, the different areas of expertise that can be developed. And these were based on FAB Academy, kind of looking at what's the structure of FAB Academy, what are the different kind of core areas. And so there's, I've kind of shown in previous presentations, I think last year in Egypt, I walked through kind of the history of the development of the FAB Academy statements. But where we settle now is with these, there's really 5 plus safety. Safety kind of should be consistent throughout all the lessons. So there's kind of 5 content areas, if you would, and then plus safety. I also want to highlight, we do have a blog where we share different writings that both from internally from the team and externally. When we first worked with groups of teachers a few years ago, they each authored a blog on our platform, and really is a way to just share different voices and get different, again, the kind of writing styles up to as an example, to show the different approaches, different things that teachers think about when they work with their students. Here's one from Liz last month. There was another recent one from Aiden Mulaney, another FAB Foundation staff member. So again, just another way to share ideas, and we do welcome authors to share writings with us. That's something that we haven't done a lot of, but we are interested in doing. Again, it's just kind of all the different kinds of formats that we can communicate digital fabrication learning opportunities through. We will use. So in the age of COVID, we of course are always doing Zoom calls, webinars. We did a lot of this before. So and as the Scopes team, we developed some basic skills in running webinars and virtual workshops and meetups. So I want to just call attention to this is available as well. The recordings are available on the Scopes platform. Here's one of the most recent ones, a virtual meetup led by Sonia, and then 2 members actually from IU1, which is the some of the folks that we've worked with on the social emotional learning, integrating that and mental wellness into digital fabrication content. So a really neat, deep dive into hearing directly from the practitioners and the theoreticians who are thinking about this and implementing this on a daily basis. So I encourage you to check out these resources. Here's another kind of screenshot of our YouTube page. So this is the FAB Foundation YouTube page. The Scopes project has a channel on that. Here's the Scopes videos that we've done over the years, from helping introduce and unpack the Pancake Bot to I led a workshop a few months back on 3D design workflows. Aiden led a nice workshop on unplugged engineering design processes, and so on. So yeah, these are all available on our platform and also on our YouTube channel for you to use. So I'm going to pause here really quickly to do a time check. Just about halfway through, I think. Are there any questions off the bat or so far that I can address? And take a little pause from talking. Liz, do you have anything to add or to ask?
I don't have anything to ask, but I'd like to find out what the community has to ask. One of our questions was about additional standards, and we are looking to add more standards that are especially relevant to our international partners. So when we built the site, those two standards plus the FAB I Can were kind of first and foremost in our list, but we are looking into adding more standards to support the international community. So please weigh in on your thoughts about what those standards could be. We appreciate it.
Cool. Okay. Should I keep moving on, or do we want to? Okay. Okay, very good. So I'm going to take a little deeper dive now into some of the data we have on our lesson collection so far. This is a screenshot here of a particular lesson, but I just want to call attention to these details in the yellow box. And this is essentially how we've structured our lesson builder tool. So on the SCOPES platform, you actually use an interface that we've built to fill out a series of fields and tags and categories that help give some constraints to the lesson and help provide consistency across all the lessons. And that's what allows us to do a little bit of analysis on the different subject areas, on the grade levels, on the FAB tools, the topic tags, the different standards that are used, and who the authors are, and any additional contributors. So again, it's just a way of this is how we've structured our tool. And I wanted to share this and share these details just because I think while we hope you, of course, would share your lessons and content with us and on our platform and with the community at large, we also understand like it's also kind of advantageous for many teachers to build their own platforms and do it directly, or kind of at a smaller scale with their own school or with their own students. So I wanted to kind of just help shed some insight into how we did it, and I'm happy to answer any questions about any kind of technical choices that we have made over the years, and maybe troubleshoot if you're running into this. But it's a kind of interesting phenomenon, right? Of everyone wanting to kind of make their own platform and host their own content. And this is how we chose to do it, and it allows us to again kind of develop some insights into the pulse of the community and kind of where we're strong on content or where we're weak on content. So it allows us to do a little self-reflecting as a team, as the SCOPES team. But it's also important that we for us to kind of share this back out to the community, just to kind of open it up and say, hey, this is what we all kind of have done over the last few years. So I'm going to kind of just show you some of the latest stats kind of based on these details that you can see here. So this is an example on the left here of a screenshot of a lesson, what it looks like on the site. We do try to we've made some efforts into helping make them look nice. I think that's a big part of kind of packaging these and making them look professional and consistent. We stress a lot of use of imagery and not just words, not just descriptions, but like, hey, show the project, show someone working with their hands building this thing. It kind of really goes a long way and helping share lessons and share knowledge of seeing someone do that. So that's what lessons typically look like. A lot of images across the top and a gallery of images, just to kind of help paint that picture. But then looking at some of the details of our lessons, we have the bulk of our lessons are suited towards ages 11 through 13. In the US, it's middle school, grades 6 through 8. About 118 lessons have kind of self-categorized. The author has identified, hey, this is appropriate for this age group. 92 lessons are kind of geared towards older high school students, 14 to 18 years old, and then 31, a little fewer, for K through 5 or 5 to 9 year olds. So, if you're out there looking to, hey, what can I add to this? We off the bat, we'd love to see more young or early childhood lessons. I think it's a neat area to think about what that looks like. When, it's understandable that, there's some technology, sometimes dangerous technology being used in digital fabrication in labs. So it makes sense that there's probably less content out there, but there's many other sides of the story that I think could help introduce digital fabrication at a younger age. And then some more details on the fab tools that we've seen that people have identified with here. So, laser cutter, kind of at the top of, it's tagged the most. Most of the lessons use a laser cutter. A lot of electronics and CAD tools. This kind of spans a lot, right? CAD can mean a lot of things: 2D modeling, 3D modeling, 2D graphics, things of that sort. So it kind of captures a lot. And then 3D printer, there's 72 lessons that use that. So kind of makes sense of some of the more popular tools that get used and shared on the site. And then just to kind of round out what the picture, kind of a holistic picture of the lesson content is, some of the topic tags that people will kind of an additional layer of information about their lesson. The most popular tag is Intro to Fab Lab. So it is, most of the content is geared towards novices. And it's kind of neat to see the next few tags about imagination. I think that was kind of neat to see that 56 lessons, that was kind of the focus. I think that kind of is a neat thing to be able to share about what people think about when they create a digital fabrication lesson. And then electricity is another one. But yeah, so that kind of paints a picture of the ages and the tools that the lessons use. We have some other ways to look at the lesson content, which is the kind of broader categories or subject areas that the lessons fall under. So here you get a sense of most of the lessons on the site are dealing with technology in a technology category, which of course makes a lot of sense. Then engineering is a popular subject area, science and mathematics. So the kind of things that you would expect. But what's exciting and kind of neat, I think, are the little lesser kind of used ones that I think you really find kind of the neat lesson where it's like, hey, let's look at the history class with digital fabrication, or let's look at architectural projects with digital fabrication. To me, that kind of is, begins to paint a more clear picture and kind of a broader audience and kind of relevant to more teachers when you can, share a digital fabrication lesson that uses English, it's situated in an English language arts class, for example. Those tend to be the really kind of neat lessons where you're like, oh, that's so cool that the language arts teacher is in the Fab Lab using this equipment. That's kind of a neat story to be told there. This chart, it's a little bit information heavy, but what we're looking at here is a charting all of the Common Core and next generation science standards that are used by the lessons. So on the vertical and the Y axis, you're looking at the number of lessons used for lessons. So this tells us which standards are used by the most lessons, or which standards are kind of the most popular in this. And as you might expect, there's kind of the engineering design is a really popular. There's a group of 4, the ETS 1, 2, 3, and 4 are actually the top 4 standards that are used. And so you can see here, like I think about 18 lessons use the MSET S1 engineering standard in their lesson. But the next ones after that are in the physics and energy, kind of transferring energy, and then after that, so high school geometry standards. So those are the top standards. But I think what's neat is thinking about kind of the long tail of looking at there's in total, there's 142 unique standards that are used. So not only does the platform like show some like depth of kind of the key areas that digital fabrication really, that many different people use in their lessons in digital fabrication, but also shows the variety, the breadth of standards that digital fabrication can touch upon. So that was kind of a neat find for me to see, is you got both the long tail and you got some kind of a deep dive into these standards. And again, these are just the Common Core and NGSS mixed here all together. I have a separate chart that shows the FAB ICANN standards. So again, these standards are the standards, the statements the learning statements that we've developed at the FAB Foundation over 3 or 4 years. We've used these, and they've gone through a few iterations, but they've been stable, I think, for the last 2 or 3, maybe two years at least. So we can do some nice analysis on what percentage of lessons uses which ones of these standards. And the first thing you might notice here is if you're looking at, kind of group them in design 1, 2, 3, fab 1, 2, 3, modeling 1, 2, 3. So you can kind of see the novice, intermediate, expert. And we hit pretty heavily for each of the 6 categories in the novice. So here you can see 41% of all the lessons on the platform use fabrication.1 as as one of the standards that the lesson addresses. And again, that makes a lot of sense in terms of addressing some use of machines and being able to follow instructions of how to use a machine. But it kind of carries through all of them, right? Is you have the top standards being the fabrication 1, design 1. 39% of all of our lessons use the design 1, and then safety is the next most popular kind of introduction to entry level kind of safety concerns that the lesson will deal with. So again, you can kind of see a snapshot of the kind of content we have here. We're missing or have the fewest in terms of the kind of expert level, and I think that's fine. I think that makes sense, but maybe that's an area that you might want to consider adding lessons to, is kind of increasing that kind of deeper, more expert knowledge level in some of the lessons would be a nice area of development for us. Okay, so I'm towards the last section of my presentation. I think we're doing okay on time here. And I want to spend a few minutes just really recognizing some of the top lesson contributors in 2020. Many of you may have kind of seen some of our top contributors over the years. And some of them still stand. There's some people from 2018 and 19 that still have quite a few contributions to our platform, but I wanted to focus in on just the most recent in 2020 here. We've had some tremendous contributions, and between these four members, we've had over 30 lessons contributed. So I just wanted to call them out and thank them for their work. Janine Way from the Cook Inlet Tribal Council in Alaska has been a major contributor this year, and even a little in previous years, but really a lot of new lesson material in this year. And Ilaria Lamana, Moath, Momani, and Faraz. I'm gonna hopefully get your name or not mess it up too bad. Mester Rahi. Now these last 3 are all out of Qatar, and they've really helped develop so much great content. All the 3 of these. Ilaria has kind of been one of our major contributors, and she's an additional contributor on a lot of these lessons. So she's kind of has the record for like assists, if you would, in all these lessons. So really wanted to thank those 3 for all their work. And I've highlighted their profiles here, and I do want to just take the time to look at each one of them. Ilaria here, like I was saying, has all these contributions to all these lessons. So this is like when you sign up on the SCOPES site, you get a profile page, and then it tracks all of your lessons that you've either directly authored or you were a contributor on, an additional contributor. So Ilaria has been a contributor on a lot of lessons you'll see here. So a big thanks to her. Janine Way, no picture, but a nice description of her Fab Lab in Alaska with the Cook Inlet Tribe. Done a lot of neat lessons. There's a particular one, this Make a Sundial is a really neat recent lesson. I encourage you to check that out. And yeah, you can just see this really neat content that she shared, really neat perspective of the tools. Moath, and I want to call out, he's a 2018 FAB Academy grad, and it shows he's got a really nice depth of knowledge in each of these, and it's done a lot of multi-language lessons. So if you go into, like, for example, his Minecraft coding, you'll see just a really nice, I guess this one doesn't show the multi-language, but he's got some really nice contributions. And then lastly, Faraz here has done some really nice lesson plans, working with some really nice groups of students, and shows a lot of just nice pictures and different kinds of pictures, what you not normally wouldn't see, at least from my perspective. So I really appreciate seeing their perspective and the work that they do there. So I just want to call attention to those four and make sure that they're recognized for the work they've done. I want to make this full screen again. All right, thanks. Yeah. Oh yeah, here's just called attention to some of their particular lessons here as well in the presentation. So if you do have the presentation afterwards, you can go in and look at more of these details. Lastly, I wanted to call out some additional kind of how-to guides if you're sharing the SCOPES work with others, or if you're not a member yourself and you're looking to, or you haven't uploaded a lesson and you want to learn how to. We've developed some guides that will help walk you through what that looks like. And I think these should be open links that you should be able to click on and walk through. These are shareable links here. Yeah, so those are available. And of course, we're also available to help walk you through any of these details and make sure you get signed up okay and all that. Doing pretty good on time. Okay. So I'm going to end it again with our call for the unplugged lessons, and make sure you're all aware that we're always looking for new content, and in particular content that's appropriate for being at home, unplugged, what that means to you and your community, and kind of in the new normal, whether or not you have access to a Fab Lab. And I think, Liz, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yeah, just click to the next screen. Thanks, Dan. So thank you for our overview. One of the things that we are doing looking forward is trying to engage our community in a more authentic way. And so we're trying to meet teachers where they are, and a lot of us are on Facebook. We've just recently started a FAB Educators Network on Facebook. It's actually, we started last Monday, so it's quite a new group. But I invite everyone here to join this network, and we can, on this platform, it's designed for us to interact with one another, answer questions, post resources in a much more a much different environment, let's say, than the SCOPES platform. A lot of the educators, at least here around the US, are already on Facebook, and people are interacting with professional learning communities. So we wanted to put together something around FAB educators. So here we go. I just added the link to our Facebook group in the chat. Again, we just opened it, so please click the link and join in. We'll start that dialogue right after this conference. Right now, we're doing all of our dialogue through the Mighty Network, which is the FabX Live platform. But as soon as our conference is over, we'll be seeing everybody on the FAB Educators Network, and I really appreciate everyone moving over to that platform with us. Dan, can you go to the next screen? So I wanted to give a kind of an overview of some of the bigger educational work that the Fab Foundation is doing. SCOPES is one project of our EDU work at the foundation. And I wanted to share some of the other things that we are working on as well in case this is new to you, but hopefully it's not new to you. We are developing teacher professional development modules. These are for virtual and in-person training to support teachers who are just learning this technology and how to integrate it into authentic student learning. Of course, Dan talked quite a bit about the FAB I Can statements. For those of you who don't know, we do have 2 mobile Fab Labs. They're based in Boston. And in fact, Alethea and Aiden will be presenting on the work that our mobile Fab Labs have done as the world transitioned from in-person training to virtual training. So that session is called Virtual Workshops. And Alethea and Aiden are doing will be doing a great a great session on that, the kind of virtual Fab Labs, virtual mobile Fab Labs, because like everyone else, we've had to pivot pretty quickly. We also do, from the Fab Foundation, educational lab consultation and design work. This is both international and national. I know that earlier in the Fab Play session, we did get a shout out about that mobile Fab Lab that started off kind of our mobile Fab Lab jaunt in Cleveland. So the Fab Foundation is helpful in this realm as well. We are developing sources on SCOPES itself that will also support kind of new lab development. We're going to put together a lesson plan or lesson curriculum almost called the Springboard Collection, which is for teachers that are very new to this technology, starting from kind of zero and making their way up to maker. So the kind of that zero to maker place on the continuum. We'll be putting something up on our site about that. We're also working on a kind of a high school curriculum development based around the FAB Academy learning standard. So right now we're working on that internationally, but that curriculum will be open source and everyone will be welcome to it as we move forward. That's kind of a more longer term plan. But those are, like I said, those are some of the things we're working on. Scopes is one arm of our EDU work. And our FAB Educators Network will be kind of supporting the Scopes platform, which is part of our goal. So we have about 3 minutes left. Let's see if we have any questions from the community. Dan has the last slide up here. Here's our contact information. And if you don't receive our Scopes updates, you should sign up because I've been sending daily reminders about the FabX conference, but typically it's not daily. Typically we do a quarterly newsletter. You'll hear about our webinars or our virtual workshops or our meetups, and those kind of announcements you'll hear through our Scopes mailing list. So please feel free to sign up for that. And in the meantime, please put any thanks. Alethea posted a link to the Mobile Fab Labs presentation, which is on Wednesday. Virtual Fab Lab instruction, virtual schools. That's the name of it. It will be great. But please type any questions into the chat and we'd be happy to answer anything you have for us. Oh, so Sonia wants me to share some updates that we're working on for our website. So in this next year, we're going to be doing some improvements to improve the quality of the engagement in our website. The lessons, uploading lessons will be a little bit faster and more easy. We'll take down some of those challenging barriers. We'll also, our front page will be updated. We'll have the ability to put updates on our front page so that it can kind of change as things are changing. As we get new calls to action coming forward, we'll be able to update our front page to reflect that. What am I missing, Dan? Let's see, like I did mention our FAB Educators Network engagement. We will be able to sync those two from the Scopes DF page. You will be able to access our FAB Educators Network pretty well. And we will probably be able to dual post those videos that we've done, that we've added quite recently to the Scopes DF page. Love to hear from you all. If there are some questions you have about our platform or any suggestions you have, I really appreciate hearing from our community of practice. Thanks, Aiden, for putting together a document with all the links that we shared today. That's very helpful.
Yeah, thank you, Aiden.
Hey Liz, I've got a quick question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see myself or anybody else.
Here, let me.
I could see you, Nick.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, you guys are talking about building out the site a bit more, and then kind of building out the educator network, and then in that was the mention of somebody from Qatar working on high school FAB Academy curriculum. I believe that many of us have several attempts at doing a curriculum for maybe a high school class, and definitely basing it off of what FAB Academy looks like. So we would call it FAB Academy Lite. It's sort of something that we're working on. I'm interested to see if there are ways for outside educators to identify a project or an assignment or a module that can connect to, that can live on Scopes and then directly connect to sort of the FAB Academy High School edition, if you will.
That's a great idea. Yeah, so thinking of the curriculum in kind of module chunks, like currently FAB Academy has the kind of week modules. Maybe having that module be kind of connected to a lesson on the site. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like
Great.
Demonstrate that the laser cutter by doing this project from Barcelona, or this project from Cleveland, or this project from Amsterdam, right? Like there's all these projects that connect to that one sort of objective or standard, if you will, that we would want to try to achieve in our Fab Lab curriculum at our schools. And also just, I guess, it'd be great to see what else is out there. I didn't know somebody else was working on one in Qatar, and I know there's several other high school teacher friends that are working in Fab Labs that are building out their own curriculum. So it'd be interesting to see how we take Fab Academy and do a Fab Academy Lite or Fab Academy Junior, right?
I did take note of that during your session. I wrote down to follow up with you to see where you, or was it Corey that was talking about doing that?
I've got a Prezi up of essentially what my class was, and so those things exist. It'd be awesome to work with the people in Qatar and try and make all those connections so that we can work together instead of all working harder.
Yeah, that's what a community of practice is. I mean, we need to support each other and learn from each other, and in pursuit of the same improved goal, the same goal of improved educational experience with these digital fabrication tools. So I appreciate you all jumping up and raising your hand to volunteer to help. That's super helpful. Thank you.
Cool.
So I think we've run to the end of our time, and we'll have to get out of our Zoom room because most likely there's another meeting that we'll be using this right now. So I appreciate everybody. Hop onto the FabX Live platform and let's do some communicating on that, especially around